The fucking little file is kind of like Charlemagne's donkey today. You hear me? Royce 5'9" with his ass. Whack 100, Whack Keisha, he got one. Birdman, Bird Brain, Bird Box, he got him one. Lil Boosie was the one who I was most inspired. I was loving it. I couldn't wait to get that nigga fucking file Lil Boosie.
Talk about what happened with Boosie to the point that
Just playing whole games, man. Being selective about what he do. Like for example, Boosie he's a staple on Vlad TV, as everybody already knows, right? Boosie on Vlad TV once a week, 2-3 times a month, right? Vlad specifically pulled Boosie on their platform so that Boosie can use his voice to condemn and to expose and to point the finger at motherfuckers who may have violated some tenet or some principle of black culture. Like specifically, right now the hot button issue is who is snitching, who not a snitch, or whatever the case may be. So every time he called him up there for an interview, he would always ask him about whatever artist that had been recently exposed as a snitch or as a rat. So Boosie was like, Spot him, got him, rat. Rallo, and rat. Boston Richie, rat. Whoever had been labeled a rat from the last time that he interviewed him, he would ask Boosie about it, and Boosie would tell him, he would give his opinion about what he thought about this shit. When Vlad asked him about T.I., right? When he asked him about T.I., Boosie went right into the whole T.I. rat type shit.
With the T.I. situation, if he did that, you're a fucking rat too. I don't spare no motherfucking body.
And that's when I really kind of like took offense, and I really kind of like thought about what it was that Vlad was using him for, right? So I know for a fact that T.I. was sending him money while he was in prison. I know for a fact T.I. was shouting him free Boosie. It was a free Boosie campaign, and T.I. was one of the main people on the front line was screaming free Boosie. I know that T.I. was doing shit to look out for Boosie and his family while he was in prison, while he was in Angola, while he was fighting that death row motherfucking charge. T.I. was one of the most vocal people in the country in terms of their support for Boosie. I know that when Boosie came home from the penitentiary, bro, he didn't really have no money. He had spent all the little money he had, leveraged it, trying to pay for attorneys, trying to fight to get out the penitentiary, you feel me? So I knew that with all this shit that was happening, or had happened, I knew that Boosie couldn't stay in Baton Rouge, bro. You know what I'm saying? Boosie couldn't move to New Orleans. Boosie had to move somewhere that was considered safer. And with Atlanta being the black entertainment mecca of this country now, it was safer for him to move to Atlanta, still be in the mix of all things music and entertainment, but be far enough away from all the crazy shit that go on in this great state of Louisiana to where he could breathe.
Because he didn't live in, he didn't have a track record of even being in Atlanta until all that shit happened.
No, he ain't had no living, hell no. Hell no, he had to get the fuck up out of Louisiana. All your mans, you know, the squad, they dead or they in prison. You ain't got no backbone, you come home, you broke. So all the shit that motherfuckers allegedly said that you was doing while you was in the street, oh nigga, waiting to pop your motherfucking top. You hear me? So it's safer for him to move to Atlanta. So one of the people who made that move from Louisiana to Atlanta, who made it smooth for him, was his relationship with T.I., his relationship with Trouble. You know what I'm saying? Those are the people who opened up the door to Atlanta for Boosie. T.I. was instrumental in that. T.I. wasn't really rapping when Boosie came home. If you think about it, T.I. was on a movie tip. He wasn't really putting out albums like he normally would. You know what I'm saying? T.I. created shows and created a space for Boosie to come and open up for him and do a collaborative show together. So T.I. did everything in his power to support Boosie while he was in prison. And then when he came home, he was all for and all in support of Boosie. And like Boosie even admitted during the Vlad TV interview, he admitted that his younger kids and T.I.'s younger kids grew up together since he's been home. So when he took that stance, when he called T.I. out as being a rat, I immediately had a problem with that, because the shit that he was talking about, he had ratted about, the shit about the case about his cousin getting killed in Ohio and Cincinnati when he shot the bus up, and then the other case about the guns, getting caught with the firearms, that shit 10 years ago. Ain't no way in the world you ain't heard about that shit, Boosie. You heard about that shit while you was still locked up. If you wanted to ask him about whether that shit was right or whether it was accurate or not, you could have asked him man to man. You could have called him. You could have pulled up on him. Y'all come to each other's houses. So for you to go to Vlad and for you to expose that shit that way he did, that was some pussy shit. I don't respect that shit. And that's when I decided yeah, this nigga whole ass nigga. And
you feel he did it because he kind of had to do it? Or because it was promoting the album at that time too, right?
The album they hadn't even mentioned it yet, right? When he mentioned the fact that we got an album together, right? The world was shocked. They weren't really shocked, but we didn't know that they had an album together. I mean, you had to really be in the inner circle to know. The world as a whole.
So it wasn't like he was trying to promote the album, so.
No, how you gonna, listen, me and you doing the album together, I call you a rat. Me and you doing the album together, you call me a rat, and you explain why you saying I'm a rat. What does that do for potential album sales? That killed the project off the gate, you feel me? That was some whole shit, that wasn't no real shit. And I believe that if you had a question in your heart, because when all Vlad did was ask him, he didn't really even lead him into it. You heard about what happened with T.I.? And he leaned forward. He leaned forward in the chair and went to articulating why he felt like that T.I. was rat. Yeah, you did that, you told, you cooperate, blah, blah, blah. So I'm looking at this shit. I said, this motherfucker Vlad and walked you right into this shit to talk about your partner like that, right? So in the world of motherfuckers exposing motherfuckers, let me tell you something, my guy. Right now we live in a time where rats don't gotta run. Rats clicking together, right? And going at real niggas who dare to expose them to be a rat. And that's what the fuck Boosie did, cause he went right back up there and Vlad asked him about quality control P. Man, you should have seen that nigga with the shucking and jiving and hooking and hollering and tow trucking his way around that motherfucking question. You hear me? What you say? I ain't hear you. What happened? Bitch ass nigga, you heard what he said. He asked you, what's up with this nigga QCP? The same, now Boosie, before that, Boosie had endorsed 1090 Jake. And then Vlad already said that the reason why he interviewed 1090 Jake is because Boosie co-signed for him. So when 1090 Jake, when the issue of quality control P came up, 1090 Jake got the paperwork he do with everybody else, all the documents, and it shows for a fact that QCP, that nigga was telling for years trying to get that cat locked up. P was trying to actively get this nigga locked up. Everybody know it. When he asked Boosie about it, he went just dummying up like a little bitch he is. And then the nigga said, wham. The kicker was when he said, now I'm pausing for a reason. This nigga say, when he couldn't run from that question anymore during that interview, that nigga threw his hands up and he said, I ain't even gonna speak on that, because if I do, I ain't gonna have no friends left. Pierre Thomas is not just QCP. Like 10 years ago, you probably could get off with that and just attacked him personally. But he ain't no rapper, he's an executive. And he runs one of the most successful record labels and management companies in the history of hip hop that he sold to a company for $300 million, right? So they gave him $200 million in cash, and they gave him $50 million in stocks, because now Quality Control is a publicly traded company now. So he didn't just sell the company, him and Coach K didn't just sell the company outright, right? He sold it for $250 million cash, and they gave him $50 million of stock in QC, and they allowed Scooter Braun and them allowed him to have operational control of the company, so that's still his baby. So when we look at his roster artists, Lil Baby, City Girls, Yachty, and everybody else, that's still a powerful thing. So when you cross P, you ain't just crossing P, you crossing all his artists, all the producers, all the relationships he had. It's kind of like a miniature Jay-Z. He didn't want to make him mad. Yeah, a miniature Jay-Z, and on top of that, and then the bigger thing is, you in Atlanta. That's his city. Niggas in Atlanta know P told on some shit. That's not new news down here. Right? They know what he did, they know how he played it, and then what's up, right? But listen, here's another example of motherfuckers being afraid or being fearful of calling a spade, because if QCP was anybody else, they'd be calling him a rat all day. But because he who he is, niggas is scared to call a spade. And that's what I got a problem with. That's called selective gangsterism. My nigga, if you don't have enough heart and courage to talk about one person and expose another motherfucker based on the principles you say you subscribe to, nigga, it gotta be fair across the board. If it's not fair across the board, then you picking and choosing who you'll call a rat based on what you think the consequence for doing so is gonna be.